Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Cultured Gamer. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about the UK Antitrust Regulators blocking Xbox's acquisition of Activision and Blizzard. That's a mouthful. We're also going to talk about NFTs entering the gaming space and what that could mean for gaming's future. All that and more on The Cultured Gamer. And welcome everybody to another episode of The Cultured Gamer. I am your host, Jason Carmona, and with me today is Ernest Johnson.
Hope everyone's having a good week.
Yes, hopefully you are as well. Welcome back. Well, what have you been playing, if at all? I know you've been busy the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, last couple of weeks have been busy. My week's going good so far. How about you?
Good. What have you been playing, Ernest?
So I've been actually giving my PS5 a nice good workout. I did finally check out that beta for Street Fighter 6.
Oh, okay. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I gotta say, very pleasantly surprised. I wasn't really, well, I'll just be honest, I haven't really been a Street Fighter fan since Third Strike.
Mm-hmm.
I thought 4 was good, pretty good, not as good as 3 or Alpha or Street Fighter 2. And I really did not like 5 at all.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like 4 is good. There are parry mechanics, but I'm sorry, there's no way around it. 3-dimensional physics just are slower than 2D. So I feel like that's a downgrade, not an upgrade. If I'm going from Street Fighter 3 to 4, I feel like everything should be better. There shouldn't be anything that's worse. And then 5, I understand that they wanted to make it more accessible, so they kind of took out a lot of parry mechanics. It just kind of felt dumbed down, which is good when you're trying to be mainstream. But I'll be honest, I don't really care about how the mainstream. If you want to be a mainstream fighting game fanatic, then go play like Smash Brothers or something. Street Fighter is kind of it's a purist fighting game series, and with 6, I feel like I think 6 is so far even better than Street Fighter 4. The parry mechanics are back. They're good. They're well implemented. There's a lot of gameplay dynamics that discourages players from being turtles, and so I actually feel like they expanded on Street Fighter 4, and definitely better than Street Fighter 5. I think the graphical improvement is a much bigger jump going from 5 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like the characters are like modeled out of clay, but like not claymation, like 3-dimensionally. And so it's kind of a unique look. Like they're really like doubling down on this whole like just radical physics. Like Ryu's he looks like he's just like a tank. And I can see some people not liking that, but I mean, at least they're doing something.
Yeah.
So
I have to agree with you. Street Fighter 6. The first time I got into the beta, not the demo itself, which is out now, but the beta, they kind of had a simplified control scheme, and I wasn't really feeling it. It was very hard to get into. The one button super moves, special moves was not my cup of tea. It oversimplified things for me, and it almost just made it unplayable for me. That first couple rounds of the beta, I had a hard time figuring out how to change controllers on the fly. But yeah, like you said, it looks like it's coming along a lot nicer than Street Fighter 5 did for sure. I know when that came out, there was a lot of pockets and holes and features missing, characters missing, and it took a long time with all the season passes to get the roster the full steam like it should have been. And same thing with Street Fighter 4 was kind of the same thing. How it had too many iterations and upgrades of Super Street Fighter, Arcade Edition, Ultra Street Fighter, just too many versions as opposed to like just a simple update or even just DLC packs. And that's kind of the norm for Street Fighter to have those multiple iterations and variants. So I wonder if we're going to get that with Street Fighter 6, or if they're probably going to go more the Street Fighter 5 route and kind of just do the season passes and updates.
I'm guessing that season passes, that seems to be the norm. Why deviate from that? It's probably financially makes more sense for Capcom. I agree. I remember with Street Fighter 4, the producers were like, no, we understand we're not going to do that. And then I, naively and foolishly believed that, and it was completely not the case. So after that, I said, okay, I'm not doing that anymore.
And anything else besides Street Fighter?
Oh yeah. So I checked out Dealfield Chronicle because I smashed through XCOM, and that really got me back into strategy role playing games. But this was more like a real time strategy game, and it was kind of simple. Graphics are good but basic, and it didn't. In the I don't know, it was kind of just convoluted, so I didn't really enjoy it. But if you're really new to strategy, you're new to role playing games, and you want to dip your toes in and see if you might like it without getting just annihilated, then I would say yes. Something that really grabbed me was Octopath Traveler 2. That's just super excellent. It's just, I mean, everybody said it was really good, and it didn't take a lot of convincing for me. Right when I played it, it just felt right. Something that didn't necessarily feel right for me, and this is maybe controversial, but I played the Resident Evil 4 demo. I played a little bit of it.
And what'd you think?
It looks beautiful, but it's very dark, and the graphics are so good that it was actually kind of scary. And but the controls, I don't know if it's just because physics have gotten to the point where everything is very realistic, but it feels kind of weighty and laggy, like too much so, like there's too much weight. And so when you're like trying to when you're low on ammo, and it's Resident Evil, so you're not supposed to just kill every zombie. Certain situations you have to retreat or navigate through them, and because of the physics and the weight and the kind of like the laggy kind of a feeling, it was hard to be precise, and it was hard to kind of to maneuver. Maybe it's just something that you kind of have to get acclimated to, because nobody's really complaining about Resident Evil 4. Nobody has anything but good things to say about it. So
yeah, that demo was really cool. I liked it a lot. It got me in a few places that I wasn't expecting it to. And it looks like it's largely faithful to the original game. I have yet to play the full game. I know it's out already.
Same.
I'm waiting for it to kind of drop in price a little bit, but my backlog's already huge. I can't keep adding more games to it. My wife's gonna get pissed. So,
what about you? What are you playing?
Street Fighter, pretty much. Just hacking through Devil May Cry, taking my time. Once I get home, recently, huh?
Are you enjoying that though, or what?
Devil May Cry? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It has the vibe. I don't want to talk too much about the story. It's typical Devil May Cry though. Not the remake, obviously, with Ninja Theory, but with the standard series. So it falls in line. Yeah, it's really good. Definitely worth playing. And then my son is playing. That's the Justice League game still. So my daughter is starting to explore video games now, and she is playing Crash Bandicoot. She's found this little 8-second clip of him just saying whoa 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 whoa, and she didn't know it was a video game. She just thought it was just some weird graphic, and once she saw that 8-second clip of Crash just repeating whoa frantically, and she played the game, she was all about it. So every time she comes home now, she's like, can we play Crash? So
which Crash game is she playing?
Oh, she's playing the trilogy on PS4.
Oh,
so she's playing the first game, just that single run from the beach to the forest. Just to get her acclimated with the game, nothing too hard, or just to mess around. But enough what we've been playing. Let's talk about some news real quick. We're gonna hop into it real quick, then I'll ask for your opinions if I know you have some. This first topic I know is not a game you typically play, so we'll just jump right into it real quick. WB Games has launched a new Heroic Assault update for Gotham Knights, dubbed the Kelvin Incident. It is a 15-floor raid for Endgame Knights. The Kelvin Incident is a new Heroic Assault mode for the 4-player co-op raid mode. Separate from the main story campaign, this standalone mode lets you play up to 4 players, and they can join up to online and via online co-op, and together you and your fellow knights will run through floors of challenges, eventually taking on major Batman villains. Taking on the Kelvin Incident will require you to make a dent in the Gotham Knights campaign. However, for normal game players, you'll need to complete the villain crimes and unlock the Hero Assault mode. Those on New Game Plus will have the incident unlocked instantly, so long as Hero Assault is unlocked on their save. You'll be able to access the Kelvin Incident through Quick Match on the Launch Heroic Assault option. This patch will also include no other sizable additions, mythic gear, a new tier of stronger gear that only drops in the raid, will also be added to the loot list as well. New materials will also drop from the raid as well. Ernest, at this point, I would ask, how do you feel about this? But since you haven't played the game, I'll just jump into what I kind of think about it real quick.
Yeah.
So I have a friend, my friend Josh and I have kind of been chipping away little by little at Gotham Knights. He's already beaten it several times, and he's kind of helping me just find the motivation to kind of chop through it. And we're kind of going through the Heroic Assault right now. It's kind of like a horde mode, like Gears 2 horde mode, where you just fight floors and floors and floors of bad guys, and eventually you can just cash out and go and like upgrade your gear, and then you can actually play the story campaign, which is also co-op. And then each night you go out and you fight crime and fight criminals, and the story progresses little by little by little. And then if you're not strong enough to take on said boss, you can just go back to the heroic mode, grind, and then from there you can take whatever gear you've earned from that into the actual game itself. I think this is awesome to add a 4-player mode to it. I know people have been waiting for it for a really long time. I don't know if it's an additional selling point for the game, only if you're like a really hardcore online gamer and have 4 friends who want to play an Arkham style beat 'em up. I would recommend it. There's a lot of grinding involved to earn said gear. So, I mean, this is a great addition for the game. Definitely needed. It adds value to it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend you go out and buy the game now if you haven't already played it or weren't a fan of the previous Arkham games. It doesn't add anything new, but definitely worth checking.
You're not a fan of the Arkham games?
I mean, no. If you are a fan of the Arkham games, you should definitely check them out. I mean, it has a little bit of differences, and it's not like a 1-to-1 like comparison, but it is very similar. In terms of gameplay to the Arkham games.
Mean, I don't know anybody who didn't like Arkham Asylum, though, right? I mean, that's
there's just a lot of grinding and RPG elements and relates to the gear and upgrading and stuff like that. So, if you don't like grinding, then it could be a chore to play.
I mean, at least there's some new game plus stuff, So if you've
you've
done a lot and you haven't had your fill, or you feel like you need more value from the game, it's cool that they added some stuff that you can technically do,
Yeah, definitely. So kudos to them. I hope that mode, adds new gamers. I don't think it will, but at least it gives people who already have it a new mode to play. And if it drops in price, definitely worth checking out as long as you keep those servers online and people can play online. Otherwise, it's DOA. Let's move on to the next topic. Twisted Metal is finally approaching its TV debut. The Peacock original had its poster debuted via IGN exclusively. According to the source, which is, I guess, IGN, Twisted Metal is being officially described as a high-octane action comedy starring Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatriz. The first teaser trailer for Twisted Metal is set to debut tomorrow, Friday, April 28th. Though inspired by the classic PlayStation game series, the show will be based on an original take from the writers of Cobra Kai, Deadpool, and Zombieland. According to the official synopsis, Twisted Metal follows a motor-mouthed outsider who is offered a chance at a better life, but only if he can successfully deliver a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. In addition to Mackie and Beatrice, Twisted Metal cast includes Joe Sanoa, who's better known as Samoa Joe as Sweet Tooth. Will Arnett will voice Sweet Tooth, and the show also features Thomas Hayden Church from Spider-Man 3, as well as Neve Campbell of Scream and Party of Five fame. Twisted Metal is set to debut July 27th on Peacock and is a Peacock exclusive and will run for 10 episodes. Ernest, let me ask you a quick question. What do you think about Twisted Metal, the series?
Man, I got to be honest. Like, just again, I'm all about honesty, and just from the announcement, I'm already like kind of writing it off mentally in my head. But then you mentioned because I love Twisted Metal. You know, I'm old school. Like, you know, I remember
PlayStation 1
days before Twisted Metal ever existed, and then when it got announced, I was like, oh, that looks cool, and then it was cool, and then they made like sequels, and you know, lots of them were really great, and it's a beloved series, and it's a PlayStation staple. But you had me at when you mentioned the writers from Cobra Kai. That makes me, you know, pretty optimistic. I mean,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Cobra Kai. You know, really, really loved it. And then some of the cast sounds good. Thomas Haden Church, he's a really accomplished actor. I don't know if many viewers have seen this movie he was in, Sideways. That's a great movie. He was just really, really excellent in it. I thought he did a good, even though some people think what they will about Spider-Man 3, I thought his performance was good in Spider-Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's great. And Samoa Joe as Sweet Tooth is pretty spot on. And then having it voiced by Will Arnett, these are some pretty good, you know, casting choices. Anthony Mackie is, you know, he's a big name. I'm not like a huge Anthony Mackie fan, but I don't really hate him. So, you know, maybe he'll be cool.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that being said, Twisted Metal, you know, it's always had, you know, cool little story and all that. But I think if they adapt it well, and again, I know there are other writers involved, but I'm kind of like I'm sticking with those Cobra Kai writers. And you know, if anybody can kind of like turn this into something worth watching, I think they have a pretty decent shot. It's unfortunate that trailer will, I guess it makes sense for it to come out on a Friday. So I'm sure we'll have more to say next week.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, you know, without any of the details that you mentioned, I would have probably written it off and be like, this is going to be crap. Maybe it'll be good, but likely it'll suck. But now I'm kind of like, you know, let's see. It might be all right. It might be all right. You know, let's see.
Yeah, you know, when they first announced it, I had wrote it off. But then now in the current landscape of video game adaptations, you're starting to see The Last of Us. Super Mario is successful. With this success, you know, Borderlands now, which is in the can, is right around the corner. So
both of the Sonic movies were very well received.
And both of the Sonic movies were, like you said, very well received. If the third one comes out and it's a banger like the first two, we may have a greatest video game trilogy of all time on our hands here, which is crazy to say about a Sonic the Hedgehog game movie. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely looking forward to the show and what its potential could be, especially with those writers on board. You're talking about Deadpool, Zombieland. The first one was hilarious.
Zombieland first one was hilarious,
and you know, and I can't wait for the trailer. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it delivers. The story aspect of delivering a mysterious package is kind of a little bit different because I know the tournament was for a single wish,
right?
And so I wonder if this, you know, mysterious package
like each season, like a different person wins, and it's like, oh, what are they gonna wish, and how's it gonna go sour, and then every season, I mean, there's many ways they could play it, but yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed tomorrow they show an awesome trailer.
Yeah.
All right. So the next story is going to be about Layers of Fear. So let me. Oh, I thought I had the trailer ready. There we go. Okay. So the synopsis for Layer of Fear for PS5 reads as this: experience the visually stunning world of Layers of Fear, one of the first games to utilize the power of Unreal Engine 5 and advanced technological tools. Come with us on an immersive journey as we explore how we incorporated these cutting-edge features to bring you one of the most visually striking horror games out there. With the latest engine, we expedited the development process and introduced a host of technical novelties that make this game a spectacular visual treat. The Lumen, ray tracing, and Niagara effects help us create visuals and effects that are beyond words and feel lifelike. See them for yourself in our technical showcase of the newest Layers of Fear. Layers of Fear coming out June 2023 on PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. Ernest, are you ready to see this trailer?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's launch it.
In this video, we will explore the Layers of Fear series' crowning work, the definitive way to experience the acclaimed franchise. With the new Layers of Fear, we've harnessed the power of Unreal Engine 5 to deliver stunning visuals and an immersive, nightmarish experience. Lighting is crucial for building tension and visual storytelling, and we've taken advantage of the new lighting system, Lumen, to achieve fully dynamic lighting. Hardware ray tracing allows us to achieve new levels of realism, crucial for building a terrifying atmosphere with lifelike shadows and reflections, which amplify the horror experience. We use the Niagara system to create even better particle effects that enhance the dynamism of the locations. Thanks to Unreal Engine 5, we benefit from several under-the-hood advancements that expedite the game creation process and are vital to creating a spine-chilling horror experience. These systems enable efficient optimization and seamless pipelines, ensuring exceptional quality for our intricately terrifying games. Whether you're playing on console or PC, you can expect a smooth 4K HDR experience that will make your gameplay experience even more thrilling. We invite you to enter the twisted world of Layers of Fear, powered by Unreal Engine 5. Brace yourself for the terror that cutting-edge technology can bring as you descend into a nightmare.
Ernest, what did you think of that trailer?
Bro, I am ready for some layers, man. Like I'm down. Like if you like horror games, I mean it seems like a no-brainer, and it's got me pretty excited. I don't know. Looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think that it's very interesting too how they went into detail about some of the tech that they're using within the game, the particle system, ray tracing on display. If you have the proper setup for that, I'm sure that's going to look amazing. Definitely Blooper Team is definitely really scratching that horror itch for a lot of gamers right now. They worked on the that game that with Rutger Hauer. The name is escaping me right now. I was given a review code for it and I totally forgot about it, but they did a game with Rutger Hauer. It's kind of like a cyberpunkish game. Yeah, it was a launch title for PS5.
I mean, how was it received?
It was middling to mixed. Okay. I know some people like the visual aspect. Personally, I didn't know if my console was glitching out on me at aspects of the game, because it just has a particular like aesthetic that's very like cyberpunkish, futuristic, like streaming type look to it. And it glitches out on you as you like screw up or get closer to certain things or whatnot, or you solve like the crime or whatnot that's happening. And it has this like glitch effect that happens to the screen. And honestly, I didn't know if my PS5 was dying on me when I was playing this game, because it was one of the first games I had. So I was playing this and I didn't know what else to base
glitches. You remember Eternal Darkness?
Yeah, exactly. So it was. It kind of has that type of vibe to it a little bit. It's a first-person murder mystery, so it's really eerie. And then they're working on the current Silent Hill 2 remake as well. So
I forgot about that. That's right.
So their foot is very firmly planted in horror right now.
There's some competition though with RE4 and like you mentioned, Silent Hill 2. Although I think this looks pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't really do horror in VR, and that's kind of where I draw the line.
Yeah, I know.
I probably want to check this one out though.
Yeah, as long as you don't have to put on a headset, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. And honestly, I don't know. I might want to play with somebody next to me or something like that.
Just so they could be scared with you, or
maybe, I don't know. I'm not really
talk yourself out of being scared.
Maybe I am as I'm getting older, because like I played a bit of RE4, but the remake was like, I was just looking around like, why is this like really dramatic and suspenseful and a little bit scary? And I thought I felt something like on my neck, and that really just added to the fear. It was like starting to trip out a little bit. Yeah. So maybe we'll play it together.
Definitely. We'll have to play a little bit of couch co-op on that one.
Hey, you know what? Before we move on, though, speaking of horror, if you are an old school Resident Evil horror fan, there is an awesome game, Tormented Souls, that everybody should check out. Now, it's not perfect, but I played a little bit of it. It was pretty fantastic.
Solid. Awesome. Well, let's move on to the next topic real quick. We're going to talk about UK blocking the Xbox acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So this news comes by way of CNN. The UK Antitrust Regulator has blocked Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard, threatening to thwart one of the tech industry's biggest deals over concerns it will stifle competition in cloud gaming. So this is not even about Call of Duty anymore. That was just like the red herring here, Ernest. It states here that the Competition and Markets Authority said in a statement Wednesday that it was worried the deal would lead to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. The acquisition, which was worth $69 billion with a billion dollars, when it was announced early last year, would make Microsoft even stronger in cloud gaming, a market which it already holds a 60 to 70% market share globally, the regulator said. Activision's share price plunged more than 11% on Wednesday, while Microsoft's stock gained 8%. Then they also just stated earlier today, Microsoft's president blasts the UK regulator over blocking the Activision deal, calling it the darkest day in Microsoft's history in the UK. Ernest, what do you think about the UK blocking this sale?
You know, I like cloud gaming. Like, what are they talking about? Like, on what grounds? I mean,
I think on the grounds with Game Pass,
but that's
Xbox. Hold on, Xbox being one of the three top publisher developers in the gaming space. Period. Correct.
yeah.
Okay. So right now they're really pushing Game Pass, and Game Pass right now has the red herring of cloud gaming. It's not something that you use, but let me tell you something. I use it. And if there's a game that my kids want to play, like Peppa Pig, I don't have the time or the space to sit and download Peppa Pig. And my kids don't have the patience to wait for that download, even though Xbox downloads pretty fast. They don't have the patience for that. So I'll throw it on the cloud. And, there's cloud saving as well. So that's already a thing.
Yeah, but
And
Sony has this too, though. They
it
offer
does,
that
but
may not
Sony
be as
is
robust.
way far behind on the curve in
Well, that's
terms
their
of
fault.
one, the subscription model, and two, the streaming aspect. They tried to introduce streaming a long time ago when they bought Gaikai, and they integrated that into PlayStation Now back in the PlayStation 3 days, and that did one, it didn't take off, and two, it didn't improve. They didn't really work on that technology and improve it. Right. And now it's barely out of space where it's slightly competitive with Microsoft. But it's not.
Well, that's Sony's problem. Like,
it is, but
Microsoft is doing
it is, but here's the thing. If they buy Call of Duty, that gives people an opportunity to play Call of Duty anywhere without a device. Well, and on top of that, hold on. And on top of that, yes, it is Sony's fault. But
like boo-hoo. I mean, like Sony's mopping the floor with Microsoft.
But here's the thing: but let's go back to this picture right here, okay?
Yeah.
And they're not just buying Activision; they're buying Blizzard. So with Blizzard, that also comes with Overwatch, that comes with Diablo, that comes with Warcraft. And those games in itself are major PC pushers, okay? In the PC space alone. Warcraft is entering the mobile space and is pretty popular in foreign countries like China and whatnot. Candy Crush is worldwide popular. that dominates the mobile market. There's very few phones out there that don't have a copy of or a clone of some sort of Candy Crush on there. It's one of the easiest games to get into. It's kind of like Bejeweled, very simple to jump in, jump out of.
Yeah, I had
And
my
then
Candy Crush crack
yeah,
addiction at some
and then
point.
you add on top of that Call of Duty, dude. You know what I mean? So you're already like you're monopolizing the industry at this point. If you have over a 70% market share, it's kind of like Nintendo with handhelds. Like there's nobody competing with them, right?
Yeah, but I still don't think that this is a monopoly.
No?
People can call it that, and
UK disagrees with you.
What now?
The UK regulator disagrees.
Yeah, well, what do they know? They don't sound like
they're the regulators. They know more than us.
Maybe okay. I don't know. Yeah,
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think Microsoft has already made steps to ensure that Call of Duty would be on all these platforms, and I think that was the first major concern. And I don't even think they were thinking about cloud gaming until the regulators kind of popped that up, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you guys do kind of have a large market share on that." Because with Game Pass has like what 15 million subscribers already. Alone, right? And it's and we would still consider that program to be in its infancy, even though it's been around for 5 years. Like Game Pass is really starting to hit a stride right now because of the state of the Xbox.
Well, yeah, if you have an Xbox, you kind of have to, because there's no other games to play other than like
right. So Xbox Game Pass offers those games to you. You know what I mean?
See, if this was really a problem, Sony could be more competitive with it. Like they could just, if they really wanted to, they could beef up that division of what they're doing.
And they have.
But they could like lower the price. There's things that they could like do. They could do special things to entice, developers and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot that,
So the current plan that they have right now is the basic tier, Sony speaking. And then they have a $15 tier, which is competitive with Game Pass. It gives you all the PlayStation 5 games on their PlayStation Plus game catalog and all the PS4 games on their catalog too. If you pay an extra $3, you get classic games, so you're able to again stream PS3 games and play emulated versions of PS1 and select PS2 games. So they are in the competition mode now in terms of subscription spaces and entering the streaming space because their entire PlayStation 3 catalog on that game catalog is all streaming.
But also this assumes that like people are only going to be into cloud gaming. That's like a part of the market. There's still a lot of people who don't like it for different reasons. So it's not like that's all anybody's doing is cloud gaming and they're just taking over and that's monopolizing.
No, but I think the concern is that right now the UK regulator has found evidence and proof that they currently hold a 60 to 70% market share as it stands right now. So if people if people are streaming video games, 60 to 70% of those people who are streaming are doing it exclusively via Game Pass. And that's the concern, is that there's no competition in the gaming space other than Game Pass, because they're the biggest game streamer. Would you disagree?
No, I definitely don't disagree, but that's Microsoft's those are the fruits of their labor. It's just
I don't disagree, but they feel that in buying this company, they're taking too much market share away that already exists to other companies like Activision and market share. Activision being one of the biggest companies
on Microsoft. Though.
Well, let's go back to look at this. King is like one of the biggest mobile developers like in the world.
Yeah, but these are mobile games; those don't count.
Yeah, but we're talking about the streaming. But most people, when they're streaming, they're streaming like not at home, because obviously if they're at home, they're not streaming. They're playing on actual hardware. Like you and I, we're playing on our PS5 or Xbox Series X. We're playing actual hardware. But streaming is for like the casual audience, the people who don't give a shit, and they're just like
exactly. But my point is that, like, if I understand that they're saying, this puts a monopoly on cloud gaming. Well, yeah, because it's like 60 to 70%. Well, again, how much percent of people are playing on next-gen consoles? I would say 60 to 70% are playing on PS5 rather than a Series X. No? Is that not a monopoly?
Well, that's not what's up for the debate. What's up for debate is the cloud space. And
Yeah, but their argument is like is kind of like the same thing. Then
their argument is that Xbox already controls 70% of the market space. So if they buy a company who shares the remaining 30, and that just strengthens the competition against anybody else who wants to enter that space. They can never compete with Xbox. That's like wrestling right now. You know how you have all these little minor leagues right now, but nothing's gonna ever touch the WWE. Like worldwide, globally, maybe the second next banana is AEW, and they're quickly rising up. But right now, Xbox, in terms of the streaming game, is the WWE. Nobody's doing it better than them. They have a proprietary tech on streaming that allows their games to stream faster than anybody else right now, including Google, because they went out of business. So that's already proven. And it's going to get ugly really fast. Xbox isn't going to take this lying down. And they're determined to buy this company, but right now it's as good as dead. It looks like it's good as dead for now.
Series X, they better get some games going or something, because if this deal falls through,
they need to. They're gonna have to rely on their 50 other studios to start developing games, because
something. They got all these studios, and I understand it takes a long time to develop a really, really great game, but we need to hear some announcement or see a picture to get people excited, or some hype or something. But you do make a lot of good points. I feel like at the end of the day, this situation is there's strong arguments on both sides of it. I may have gone all hard.
No.
Microsoft on one side, but at the same time, that doesn't dismiss the arguments on the other side of the coin as well. And
so speaking on passionate, we're going to roll into the next topic real quick, and we're going to start discussing NFTs and gaming for a quick minute. On the topic of passionate, I came across an article on Twitter. Basically, very popular film director, writer David Ayer had announced and had a press release announcing his involvement with a particular blockchain networking system, and he's going to be writing and producing, possibly directing an NFT and NFT heavily involved TV series that has video game implications in it as well. So let's basically go to the article, the tweet in question. So basically, responding to this tweet from Deadline, I put, I love David Ayer and all his work, but F NFTs. To which he promptly responded. Now, before we read his tweet, David Ayer is the director of End of Watch, Bright, Fury, Harsh Times, and he also wrote Training Day and the first Fast and Furious film. So he's currently developing an NFT racing series called Lollipop, and he responded to my FNFTs comments, stating that NFTs in this case are simply one of the technologies deployed together to create an immersive experience. No one has ever seen the potential of what blockchain can be. It's just architecture behind the stunning user experience we're creating. Strap in, my friend. And he also hashtagged Lollipop Racing. The Cultured Gamer site responded as well, pointing out that we love that Ayer responded respectfully too. He could have easily took that tweet south, and I didn't really think about it when I kind of put it out there. I was just kind of over NFTs and what they've come to be as we currently know them as, and basically said Taylor studying his degrees found that people are currently doing with blockchain are barely scratching the surface, which is true. The more we know, the more potential we could potentially see in it. And David agreed. People have a cognitive block, like I did, regarding the technology. I believe that when properly integrated in the right platform, the user will have no idea NFTs are hidden in the wiring of the experience. So, Ernest, let me pull this up real quick. It says here, in talking more about this project he's working on, This brief description says David Ayer, the film maker behind hit movies such as Training Day, Fury, and Suicide Squad, is expanding his creative portfolio by developing an NFT racing game called Lollipop. He is also the co-writer besides Fast and Furious. Now Ayer will bring his creativity and master talent to a new NFT game TV project that will use the Polygon network. Polygon is a blockchain platform that promises low transaction fees and fast transactions times, making it easier for players to buy, sell, and trade NFTs within the game. Feature.io, the company behind the upcoming NFT game TV series Lollipop, has revealed that the game will offer an interactive media experience. According to a statement shared by the company, Lollipop will integrate multiple features, including episodic streaming, gaming, and professional sports. We are trying to create next generation content that is built for how audiences are consuming content these days. Ernest, what do you think about all this?
I mean, look, dude, I'm going to be honest. It sounds freaking lame. Like, all the stuff that he wrote sounds like a robot wrote it. It doesn't sound like a real sincere human wrote those responses. Like, all the stuff that is said, what about that is enticing? What about that generates any kind of interest? What about that sounds like it's good for me? What about that makes me feel like excited about it or interested? All he's talking about is how, hey, we can do this thing that's hidden that you won't really notice is happening. That's going to, like, long story short, probably the whole point is to help us generate money. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that have to do with me? Like, how does that make me interested? Like, I don't want to pay.
Well,
like,
yeah, I basically see these NFTs as kind of like extended versions of downloadable content, more or less, that you can hold, gain value for, and resell. So, like, let's look at it like this. And I was thinking about this last night in depth because I was like, what could this possibly mean? So let's take Lollipop for an example, which is going to be a TV series. It's kind of very similar to, it sounds just like it's going to be kind of similar to how Defiance was. Remember Defiance was a sci-fi TV show where it was a series and also a game as well. And the events of the series affected things that happened within the game itself, like events, wars between clans and whatnot were happening in the show. And those things were happening real time in the game as well. And you could partake in those events. Very similar concept, I'm thinking here, at least from what it sounds like, with the addition of additional DLC, tradable DLC, or at this point, NFTs. So maybe you earn a vehicle, and this vehicle is souped up to a level that's like max performance, and you can use this vehicle in game. And the game has statistics that that transpire to the actual television show. So say Emperor Ernest Car Club is climbing the ranks, and it's a created car club, but it's a real car club now in the show because it's created within this game. And you could sell patches and like NFT like merchandise for your car club. And the game can earn money. Maybe you as a car club owner can earn money as well. Like you said,
you're not going to make $1 million doing it. I didn't get into gaming to like market myself and like make money off of my car, my club. And plus,
but that's just it's just a random possibility of what this thing could be. You may not be into that, but there may be people who are of this blockchain generation coming up. That,
right. Well, that was what I was gonna kind of get into, is that it's like not for somebody like me, but like, hey, look, these high school kids, like, they pay real actual money for like fake stuff in Fortnite, and I make fun of them all day, but they try to like they don't get how weird that is. If that's how they feel, then this is definitely for them, because I'm not somebody, I don't play games on a schedule where like, oh, I have to play this game at this time because it coincides with the show. So if I don't keep playing this game, I'm going to be out of the loop and it's not going to coincide with the show. I'm going to be out of it. And if I feel like, oh, that game looks cool, I'll check it out in a couple of years. You got to get it while it's hot.
It's kind of like Xbox avatars. If you think about it, you know how Xbox avatars had the marketplace?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's kind of like that concept where you can buy
okay.
like a shirt, and let's say that Led Zeppelin shirt is they only have so many tokens that you can purchase. So maybe 50 people or 100 people or 1,000 people. The first 1,000 people who pay for this shirt will have an exclusive logo shirt of Led Zeppelin that's like maybe
Yeah, but if I
exclusive.
don't get
And
Led
then at that
Zeppelin,
point,
I'll
at
live.
that point, the NFT can gain value, and you can put it back on that marketplace and make a profit if you want. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
I
then
think it's a lot of
the publisher gets a cut. Obviously, the person who is currently holding that shirt and creating value. Maybe there's a popular streamer who has one of those shirts, and because of that, and because he's pwning everybody online wearing that shirt grows in value.
And that's
You know
just
what
a
I
bunch of
mean? And
followers.
it
Then.
allows Ernest, yeah, you didn't get into it, but since you spent the money on that shirt and you spent the time playing with that on, it was like promoting for yourself as well.
Yeah, it
And
sounds like investment though. Sounds like
yeah,
you're
it's an
making
investment.
I'm more into
It's
like
digital
playing video
investment.
games and just I'll stick to video games. How about that? If I want to watch TV shows, I'll stick to it without thinking, hey, I could try to like monetize this and blah 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 blah, and I could get into the game and I could make this popular. I can buy it now and I can save it later and maybe it'll rise in value and I could sell it. I think like you're right. It's more like this will be more relevant for younger people, but it just feels like just wholly from the core. It feels like really insincere. It feels really just transactional, and it feels very video gamey. And again,
well, that was another thing too. Is in one of David Ayer's tweets, he said that he does realize the blockchain does have
video games anyway.
Well, I'm sorry.
What does he know about video games anyway?
Well, he's writing the story for the overall encompassing world that this is creating.
Where he really
he wouldn't be creating the game himself. He would just be creating. He would just be creating. He would just be creating the story for the series as a whole. Like, what does Fast and the Furious have to do with video games? But he wrote that first movie, and it became an encompassing franchise, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
So same concept. So I'm the NFT aspect. I've kind of easily deciphered that and kind of figured out what those plans are kind of going to be. And I mean, he's already said that he knows people have been burned on the blockchain with NFTs as they currently exist, and he's not looking to do this as a profit. So there's got to be more of a exchange trade ability going on within this game that he wants to pitch. And it's not so much about purchasing, although that is going to be an aspect too, like microtransactions within the game that you can resell and gain value over time. But I'm willing to play a wait and see, because one, I honestly, I don't like the idea of downloadable content as it stands and microtransactions. But I'm very into his work, and his narratives and stories have a very street level grounded aesthetic to them. And I really like that. So I'm hoping that the story itself and the show is enough to carry it. That way, if we do have another Defiant situation on our hands when the series if the series ever gets comes to fruition and gets canceled, then the game doesn't die as well. Because once Defiance, the series ended, the game died relatively quickly.
So yeah, that's why I'm.
So
a
lot of questions,
and they enjoy it. I all the best to them, but I don't see any situation where I'm going to get involved. But we'll see. I'm always
we'll have to wait and see how this plays out.
But I'm open minded. Yeah.
So that's going to be our show for today. Ernest, where can people find you?
You guys can always find me on Twitter at Emperor_Ernest. Yeah.
And you can find me down here at Moses IVVIOC on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow us at The Cultured Nerd on Twitter and Instagram, as well as Facebook. You can check out all the latest trending nerd news, gaming, movies, TV, comics, etc. We're going to close out because tomorrow is Jedi Survivor Star Wars Day. So we are going to close out today with the final gameplay trailer. Thank you for joining me today, Ernest. Thank you for everybody who watched today. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
You were only a child when they sent you off to war. Now look at you. The weight of a galaxy on your shoulders.
Didn't I tell you to be more careful about who you scan? Come on.
I cannot tell you who you must become, or where the line is drawn. There are no easy choices. These are dark times. We have few allies.
Good to see you, Gal.
The odds are against us. And they will always be against us.
Now or never!
Seems our destinies are intertwined.
But I can tell you this. If there is any hope of surviving, we must stand against the darkness.
And we want to thank everybody again for tuning in to this episode of The Cultured Gamer. Go ahead and click on patreon.com/The Cultured Nerd. Look for this show's tier, and you can also support our show and all the rest of the podcasts on the Cultured Gamer podcast channel as well. We want to thank Ernest again for joining us on this week's episode. Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Wesley, Ashlebeck, Connor, Anna, Salib, Oscar, Craig, Mitch, and Steven. A big thank you again to Jose Navarro. You could follow him at Navarro and Jose M. We want to thank him again for all our logo creation and our backdrops, as well as a special thank you to Michael Malello for our intro video as well. Thanks again for watching, you guys. Go ahead and click the thumbs up if you like this episode. Hit subscribe if you want to see more episodes of our show and other podcasts. And go ahead and scan the QR code for more Cultured Nerd content. Thanks again. Have a great day. See you next week.